Do you remember when artificial intelligence only existed in movies? Thinking robots, supercomputers that controlled the world, machines capable of surpassing humans in every way. All of that seemed like science fiction. But today, artificial intelligence is everywhere. From our phones and cars to hospitals, banks, and governments, AI is no longer an idea of the future. It is our present. How did we move from fiction to reality? When did the AI revolution truly begin? And most importantly, where is it taking us? Join me on this journey through time to discover how AI went from being just a dream to becoming a force that is transforming the entire world. The idea of artificial intelligence is not new. For centuries, philosophers, writers, and scientists have imagined the possibility of creating machines capable of thinking. In the 17th century, René Descartes, a French philosopher and mathematician, was one of the first to suggest that living beings could be compared to complex machines or automatons. René Descartes believed in mechanicism, the idea that the bodies of living beings function like machines composed of gears, springs, and mechanisms similar to the clocks and automatons of his time. According to him, animals were purely mechanical beings, without souls or thought, operating only through reflexes and physical stimuli. In humans, however, he distinguished between the body, machine, and the soul, mind, which granted consciousness and thought. This idea led to his famous Cartesian dualism theory. Descartes' ideas were precursors to modern robotics and artificial intelligence. The notion that a machine could imitate the functions of a living being laid the foundation for the development of mechanical automatons in the 18th and 19th centuries, and later for cybernetics and AI. However, it was in literature where the idea of AI truly began to take shape. In 1818, Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein, the story of a scientist who creates artificial life. Although it was not a robot, the concept of a human-made creature with the ability to think marked the beginning of a new fascination. At the end of the 19th century, Samuel Butler published Erewhon, where he suggested that machines could evolve, like living beings, an idea surprisingly similar to what we now call machine learning. But it was in the 20th century that artificial intelligence began to feel real. In 1927, the film Metropolis showcased one of the first humanoid robots on the big screen, Maria. Created by the scientist Rotwang, this android was designed to replace the spiritual leader of the working class and manipulate the population in favor of the ruling elite of the dystopian city of Metropolis. With a futuristic aesthetic and an almost mystical presence, Maria represented society's fears and hopes towards automation and artificial intelligence, decades before these topics became a reality. In literature, Isaac Asimov, a writer and biochemist, revolutionized the way science fiction portrayed robotics. Instead of depicting robots as threats, as was common in his time, he presented them as useful tools, and in many cases, more ethical than humans themselves. In 1942, Asimov introduced in his short story, Runaround, the 3 laws of robotics, designed to ensure that robots were safe and obedient. A robot may not injure a human being, or through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. A robot must obey the orders given to it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. A robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. These laws served as a fictional ethical foundation for the development of AI and robotics in literature and philosophy. In I, Robot and The Robots of Dawn, Asimov explored the role of robots in society. In these stories, his robots were autonomous, intelligent, and capable of solving moral dilemmas, sparking debates about AI ethics. Through stories like The Bicentennial Man, Asimov explored the possibility that robots could develop emotions, consciousness, and personal identity, raising questions about what it truly means to be human. Asimov's ideas influenced real-world robotics, inspiring engineers and scientists in the development of artificial intelligence and automation systems. Today, AI ethics continues to be based on problems similar to those Asimov posed in his fiction. While science fiction imagined a future with thinking machines, scientists began to ask themselves, is it really possible to build artificial intelligence? The turning point came in 1950, when Alan Turing, a mathematician, published his famous paper, Computing Machinery and Intelligence, where he posed the key question, can machines think? He then developed what we now know as the Turing Test, an experiment designed to determine whether a machine can imitate human intelligence. To understand the Turing test, imagine the following scenario. Suppose you are in a room with two chat terminals. On one of them, a human is answering your questions. On the other, an AI system. Your task is simple. Ask both questions and try to determine which one is the machine. If after some time you cannot distinguish between the AI and the real person, then, according to Turing, the machine has passed the test. In other words, if a machine can trick a human into believing it is also human, it could be said that it has reached a level of intelligence similar to ours. This experiment introduced a radical idea. It doesn't matter if a machine actually thinks. What matters is if it acts as if it does. From that point on, scientists stopped seeing AI as a philosophical concept and began building it in the real world. The 1950s and 1960s marked the birth of artificial intelligence as a scientific discipline. In 1956, at the Dartmouth Conference, the term artificial intelligence was used for the first time by John McCarthy, who defined it as the science and engineering of making intelligent machines. From that point on, the first experiments emerged. Logic Theorist, created by Alan Newell and Herbert Simon in 1956. It was the first AI program capable of solving mathematical problems. In 1966, Joseph Weizenbaum created ELIZA, a conversational AI that simulated a psychologist and used pre-programmed responses to maintain a conversation. Although its responses were simple, many people truly believed they were talking to a real therapist. However, ELIZA did not understand the meaning of words. It merely responded by following predefined patterns. Although it did not pass the Turing test, it was an important first step in the history of AI. Shaky was the first robot with reasoning and autonomous decision-making capabilities, developed between 1966 and 1972 by the Stanford Research Institute. Equipped with cameras and sensors, it could perceive its environment, move independently, and plan actions without human intervention, even responding to commands in natural language. Unlike previous robots, it did not simply execute predefined commands, but rather analyzed its surroundings to determine the best way to complete a task. Its development laid the foundation for modern robotics, influencing artificial intelligence, task planning, and autonomous mobility, essential technologies in today's robots, such as space explorers and self-driving vehicles. However, in the 1970s and 1980s, AI entered what is known as the AI winter. Initially, enthusiasm for AI was enormous, but expectations were too high. Scientists promised that thinking machines would exist in just a few years, but progress was much slower than expected. Additionally, computers of the time lacked the power to bring theoretical models to life. Governments and companies that funded these projects became disillusioned with the lack of rapid progress. Many research efforts stopped, funding was cut, and AI seemed to be on pause. But while some abandoned the idea, others continued working in silence, preparing for the next great revolution. Artificial intelligence went from being an empty promise to a surprising reality in the 1990s. One of the most impactful moments came in 1997 when Deep Blue, a supercomputer created by IBM, defeated the world chess champion Garry Kasparov. For centuries, chess had been considered a symbol of strategic thinking and human intelligence. It was believed that no machine could surpass a grandmaster, but Deep Blue, with its ability to analyze 200 million positions per second, defeated Kasparov in a historic match. This event marked a turning point. For the first time, a machine had proven to be more intelligent than a human in a highly complex field. However, Deep Blue was not the only major breakthrough. In the 2000s, AI began expanding into other fields. In 2005, an autonomous vehicle won the DARPA Grand Challenge, proving that self-driving cars were possible. In 2011, IBM created Watson, an AI capable of understanding human language, which defeated the top contestants on Jeopardy! In 2016, AlphaGo, developed by DeepMind, defeated the world champion of Go, a game much more complex than chess, using deep learning techniques. These achievements demonstrated something astonishing. AI was no longer just following instructions, it was learning on its own. This marked the beginning of the modern era of artificial intelligence, a time when machines not only imitate human intelligence, but, in many cases, surpass it. During those years, artificial intelligence began integrating into our daily lives. The first virtual assistants, such as Siri and Alexa, emerged, capable of answering questions, playing music, and performing basic tasks. AI algorithms started being used in social media, recommending content based on our interests. Autonomous vehicles like those from Tesla proved that AI could drive without human intervention. And the most astonishing thing of all, artificial intelligence began to learn on its own, thanks to new techniques like deep learning. In recent years, we have witnessed a gigantic leap in artificial intelligence. Now, AI doesn't just solve problems, it creates. DALL-E can generate hyper-realistic images from text. ChatGPT can hold complex conversations and write like a human. And other AI systems can compose music, write books, and even program code. This raises a big question. How far will artificial intelligence go? What does the future hold? If AI can already defeat humans in chess, drive cars, and engage in advanced conversations, what will it be capable of in the coming years? Some believe we will reach technological singularity, a point where AI becomes so advanced that it surpasses humanity in every way. Others think AI will become a powerful tool that enhances our lives. What is certain is that artificial intelligence is no longer science fiction. It is the present, and its impact will only continue to grow. Do you think AI will be an ally or a threat to humanity?